Hi everybody, what's up? Today let's review Robocop 2 and this is gonna be fun. Robocop 2 1990, directed by Irvin Kershner. Guys, I think this movie is kinda underrated. Just like the first movie that I reviewed last week, that is ultimately my favorite movie of all time, I also have seen Robocop 2 and even 3 many times when I was a kid. And Robocop 2, I think I love that movie almost equally to the first one. Robocop 3 today for me is a pretty bad movie, but that's a whole different story. And it's a very fun movie. I don't understand the hate it gets from some people. It might not be as perfect as the first, but it's still a very fun movie. The plot is about a drug called Nuke that is taking control over Detroit, a very addictive drug, and the cops are on strike because they don't get their salaries, and Robocop has to clean the streets from crime. And I think it's a really cool idea. The main villain of this movie is Kane. He's a drug dealer. He's the creator of this highly addictive drug. And OCP is starting a new project called Robocop 2. And this movie is so much fun. And I think this movie still has the social satire. Maybe not as good as the first, but it's still a very strong social satire because in this movie you see how greedy and a corporate like OCP just is. The guys are not paying the salaries of the cops well, consequently make them to be on strike on purpose, so the streets are going to be in chaos, and so that they can release their project Robocop 2, that they're still finding some candidates, and they can't find any candidate for the project. And I think even though the first movie is better, um, I think the action sequences of the second movie are more elaborate. There's even a chase in this movie, Robocop on a motorcycle, and the soundtrack of this movie is very good. It's not the same soundtrack of the first movie, but it is still a soundtrack that I love very much. And this movie also does have memorable action sequences. If you compare to the first movie, that is also a classic. There are some moments that are kind of cringe or something. For example, when Robocop gets another program that he just goes crazy, and he's in the streets, but he's not fighting against a crime the way he was supposed to be. When the doctor puts a little bit of directives in his head, and it's kind of funny, it's kind of fun, and it's a movie that I just love so much. Like I said, almost equally to the original. I think it doesn't deserve the criticism. And if there's one thing that I would say, story-wise, this movie doesn't do very well, is that a possible subplot between Alex Murphy and his wife, because in the beginning of the movie, he drives in front of the house where his wife and son live, and there's that whole thing. They see each other after a long time, and that's something that just happens in the beginning of the movie. The movie doesn't focus on that after all. It's just something that was thrown over there. Maybe It would have been even more interesting if the movie focused on that or carried that thing to the third movie, because it's a very interesting psychological part of a Robocop that I will definitely discuss on my review of the remake, because the remake is kind of only about that. But there's nothing too much that I can say about the Robocop 2. It's just a very, very fun movie directed by Kirshner, was the same director of Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back, and maybe the part in the end with Robocop 2, Kane was turned into Robocop 2. The stop motion effects, you can see, it didn't get the same attention of the stop motion of Ed 209 in the previous movie, but to me it's just a fun movie. And if you guys haven't watched this movie, definitely check it out, because if the first movie is my favorite movie of all time, and I said that I almost equally loved the second movie, it means I really, really loved that movie so much. So for a rating, I would say it's definitely a 10 out of 10 for me. The first movie is better, but man, I just love the second movie so much equally. It's so amazing. It's not a perfect sequel like Terminator 2, for example. Terminator 1 and 2 are the greatest, like, two movies of all time, like the first movie and a sequel, but I feel maybe story-wise, in terms of from one movie to the other, I know Robocop 2 is not like a Terminator 2, but in terms of loving a movie, I just love the second movie equally. The third movie is a whole different story. I used to like it when I was a kid. Today's a pretty bad movie. So my next review will be about the remake. And I think that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good day.